All right, good day everybody on Valmet's behalf as well. So my name is Pekka Rouhiainen, I'm the Vice President of Investor Relations at Valmet, and I'm here presenting Valmet's unique offering with my colleague Laura Puustjärvi, who is the Vice President of the Sustainability front at Valmet.
Hello.
All right, but without much further ado, let's get going. So I will first be briefly talking about Valmet's offering and some other themes, and we will then make more deeper dive to the sustainability topics then later on, and I will give the stage to Laura then. So first here you can see Valmet's offering. So Valmet, of course, is a company that has a unique offering for pulp and paper and certain other process industries globally. And this triangle here that you see in the center reflects also kind of a Valmet's core strategy and the core competitive advantage to the competitors. But if we start with the process technology from the upside, so we have offering for board, paper and tissue production lines, so meaning, for example, cardboard production machines. We make rebuilds for those and then some standalone products as well. We have offering for pulp side. We are one of the 2 companies in the world who can build the whole pulp mill. And then we have some offering for energy, especially for biomass, CO2 neutral biomass production, for heat and power generation. Then we have air emission controls and certain biofuels as well. So that's the kind of the process technology offering that we have at Valmet. And then we service all that we sell, and this is very important for us. So all of the machines, of course, need maintenance and different kind of wearables and spare parts, and all of those are sold also by Valmet to the customers. So after you have bought your board making line from Valmet, you can also buy the services. So we have the spare parts, like I said, then the maintenance, shutdown services, outsourcing services, different kind of production consumables, like for example, paper machine clothing and other filter fabrics, for example, and then process support and optimization. Then lastly, and definitely not leastly, we have the automation side. Here we have the flow control, which came as part of Valmet around, 8 months ago now. It was earlier called Neles, and we made a merger with them, and now it's part of Valmet. And then automation systems that we have had for a longer time. So here we also supply the customer. They're going to need, when they buy these machines, they're going to need valves, valve automation, valve controls. They're going to need software. That's called distributed control system in the process industries, and then some other things as well. So very important part of the offering. And our competitors, they don't have all 3 of these. So typically only automation, only services, or then process technologies and services. So we are the only company who can supply the customer all of these 3 very important components. So let's take a look at the key figures of Valmet. So here you can see, I'm not going to go through all of these, but around 5 billion euros orders received and sales, comparable EBITDA 500 million, a little bit more, and the comparable EBITDA margin 10.6% now for the last 12 months. An order backlog 4.7 billion, 17,500 employees globally all around the world. And we were talking just a minute ago about these different kind of offerings. So here you can see those in pie charts. Services and automation are about half of the sales, and then the process technologies, meaning the machines, around half of the sales as well. But then if you look at the comparable EBITDA, you can see that services and automation are actually much bigger part of Valmet in terms of the profits. And services is 200 million, automation 200 million, and then process technology is 150 million euros. So here for investors, it's really important to understand this, that actually when it comes to the value creation of Valmet, the biggest part comes from the aftermarket, meaning the services and the automation. So this slide, I just want to highlight a couple of things from here. So Valmet has really strong position in the growing market of converting renewables, and this is really important to understand about Valmet. So if first thinking about these process technologies, the global market positions are extremely strong. So you can see here we are the number one player in board, tissue, even graphical paper machines. Then we are number 1 to 2, a little bit depending on the year, on pulp side, and number 1 to 3 in the kind of energy offering for the boiler market. So it's really remarkable market share. For example, in the board side, we are clearly more than 50% market share in the recent years, and out of the whole installed base globally, if you calculate all the paper, board, and tissue production together, around 40% of the annual volumes are made using Valmet's machines. So that's really important. It's a good starting point for us. And the market for the machines is around 3.5 billion euros. This of course fluctuates every year. But then if you look at the aftermarket, the services part, it's 8 billion. So the bigger market is there. Here we are number 1 to 2, but the market share is lower. The market share for Valmet services is around 18% at the moment. So that compares to the 40% global installed base. So here we've been able to increase the market share little by little, but there are big opportunities to capture in this side. In the automation business, in the valves, we are also number 1 in pulp and paper, but then we are active in other process industries as well. We are a much smaller player, but in pulp and paper, the number 1 player. Automation systems also number 1 to number 3, a little bit depending what exact application you're looking at in pulp and paper. And then very important to look also the figures from this perspective here. So when Valmet started in 2013 or 2014 as a separately listed company, the services business, which we call kind of the recurring and stable business, was 1 billion euros. But after that, the company has changed a lot, and now we have the stable business around 3 billion euros, so 1.7 billion in services, almost 900 million in the automation systems and valve business, and then 366 on top of that with the valve business from the period that Neles is going to contribute going forward. So it's a really big part of Valmet's business nowadays. And this of course makes Valmet less cyclical company. So often if investors have kind of a worries about Valmet that your business is cyclical, well that's true for the process technologies, but like you see here from this chart, the stable business is not very cyclical. So even during the year of COVID, the order intake came down by clearly less than 10%, and it has been really, you could say here, growing steadily every year. Valmet's development since 2013, which was the last year when Valmet wasn't an independent company, has been extremely good. Like you can see from here, so order intake has gone from 2 billion to more than 5 billion, net sales growing also steadily and nicely, and then a complete transformation in terms of the profitability. So comparable EBITDA in terms of euros was 50 million euros in 2013, and now it's 500 million euros, and the margin has gone from 2% to more than 10%. Financial targets, of course, we need to still continue to improve the company from all of the different angles. In terms of growth, we are targeting to continue to capture market shares in services and automation and grow 2 times the market growth. And then we are targeting to grow faster than the market also in the process technologies side. In terms of profitability, the comparable EBITDA target is 12 to 14%, comparing to around 10% where we are right now. So there's even much room to improve, how we see. And then what comes to the efficiency of the balance sheet, we have rather good comparable return on capital employed historically. Now we are at 16%. The target is to remain at the level of more than 15%. And Valmet has been a rather good dividend payer also during the years, and the payout target is more than 50%. So if we then take a look at a couple of the sustainability trends that are impacting Valmet. So there are of course many, and I can't go through in much detail all of these, but we have targets for CO2 emission reductions for our customers. This is of course hugely important for them. Usually it means that the customers will be able to buy much more efficient machines in terms of energy usage comparing to their old ones, and this is of course a way for them to be more environmentally friendly and also more efficient in terms of their cost base. Then our products can be used, or our customers' products can be used to replace plastics, for example in packaging products, using the renewable materials. We are promoting the circular economy, replace fossil fuels with renewables. There's a possibility to use CO2 neutral energy and heat production using biomass. Of course, the emission reductions have been a big theme in the industry for many decades, and and during the years there have been huge improvements in this front. Energy efficiency, like mentioned, water efficiency, one of the very important things. So, for example, in the paper making process, you are basically taking wet pulp that consists of 99% of water and 1% of fibers, and then you dry it. So water efficiency is extremely important. Raw material efficiency, of course. So when a tree comes to a modern pulp mill, everything is used. So all parts of the tree is basically used in the modern mill. Some chemicals are needed, so it's very important that there is efficiency in terms of those, and then of course safety for customers. Couple of case examples here. So if you look at the board making line, the modular OptiConcept line, it's the newest in the offering. It's 30%. It has 30% lower energy consumption compared to the average, and 30% saving in fresh water consumption. Like mentioned, both really important for customers. Then Copenhagen, city of Copenhagen. If you go there, please go also to visit our Hufors site. It's there near the city center. That uses biomass to generate heat for the whole city, and calculations show a huge CO2 emission per year from this one. So compared to the situation that Copenhagen had earlier, 1.2 million tons less CO2 emission, and this means 3% reduction in whole Denmark's annual CO2 emission. So like said, it goes to show how good solution biomass can be. Here are some numbers that Laura, thank you Laura for supplying these. Here you can see for a tissue production line, the kind of energy usage has been coming down from 1990s by almost half. So of course year over year the reductions are quite small, but then they compound over the decades to really huge improvements. Water usage has come down by 80%, so really big things. Then taking a look at couple of the future growth possibilities that Valmet has. These are all very interesting ones. First one is the cellulose-based textile fiber. A Finnish company called Spinnova is the one who is the innovator in the field, and Valmet is supplying the drying machinery that is commonly used for paper making to Spinnova. Then textile recycling, another really important, maybe even surprising front when we're talking about Valmet. So a Swedish company called Renewcell is now building a site where they take in clothes, used cotton clothes, and turn it into dissolving pulp. And then that pulp can be used for example, viscose making, and then turned into new clothes again. So recycling textiles, very important field also in terms of regulation at the moment. Then molded fiber. This is very interesting. The machine is now already working in Äänekoski site. We were building it together with customer, and here the idea is to make plastic-free different kind of packaging material, for example, for foods, but it can be used for also many other applications as well to replace plastics. So now I will hand over to Laura.
Thank you. And thank you, Pekka. What I want to start with are the key drivers for corporate sustainability that are impacting companies across sectors. And I'll start with the drivers from the industry. And what we see coming more and more topical with our customers from the demands perspective, and even in the investment processes, are the need to reduce fossil emissions. So reduction of CO2 emissions is becoming more and more important. Also reducing the use of energy, reducing fresh water, closing the cycles, and reducing the need for raw materials is increasingly important for companies across sectors. Circularity benefits are such where Valmet, with its technology, can make a huge impact. Closing the water cycles, using raw materials further and longer in the industrial processes are one of the highlights there. Also, increased need for companies to show and disclose wider their practices when it comes to ethical business operations. And overall, the supply chain sustainability. How the company is managing its supply chain from the sustainability perspective is coming more and more important to disclose in its reporting and the web pages. Also, we see some drivers coming from the policymakers and the regulators. What we see currently is a big shift from voluntary soft law into mandatory hard law. And this means that things that were previously voluntary for companies to disclose on their sustainability performance are now becoming mandatory. And those are becoming more and more regulated as well. This information will be more and more in the board of directors reporting, in the management reporting, and it is becoming more and more similar, the reporting format, than for the financial data. The other drivers that we see from different stakeholders is, for example, the financial community has waken up very, very strongly the past years. We see that the banks and the lenders and the investors are really facilitating this green transition at the moment. And this is impacting the companies in a way that we are receiving a lot more requests, a lot more questions from the financial community players. And one example from Valmet is that we have actually aligned and added our climate targets to reduce emissions to one of our financing mechanisms. Also, we see, as discussed, the customers' growing requirements for overall sustainability benefits, and those are being more and more visible in their investment decisions. Suppliers and employees are expecting more for companies. They want to see that big companies are showing example for smaller suppliers to take best practices in, but also the employees more and more want to see that the company they're working for is a good corporate citizen and a sustainable company. And overall, consumers around the world want to purchase products that are produced more sustainably and reduced CO2 impact. At Valmet, we have systematically worked to build our sustainability strategy. We call it Sustainability Agenda. We're covering 360 degrees, the entire value chain. So we have framed our sustainability agenda according to the environmental, social, and governance approach. So under environmental focus area, we are focusing on circularity, on climate, reducing CO2 emissions, and to improve the environmental efficiency along the value chain. Under social focus area, we are promoting engaged workplace, health and safety, and being a good corporate citizen. Under governance, we are very much developing more transparent reporting, more sustainable supply chain, and more ethical business practices. And still today, we are very much disclosing our progress also to selected global ESG rankings and ratings. And a good news is that we just got news that Valmet is included the 9th year in a row to the Dow Jones Sustainability World and Europe indices. So of course, this is showing our strong commitment to corporate sustainability and developing the agenda forward. What I would like to highlight is one of the main material topics from Valmet's sustainability agenda, and that is the climate part. Valmet has very ambitious climate targets to reduce its CO2 emissions along the value chain. Our targets are covering the supply chain, our own operations, and the use phase of our technologies that customer use. So we target to reduce our CO2 emissions in our supply chain by 20% by 2030, with the baseline being 2019. And here the main actions are that we are increasing the share of recycled steel in all the products that we are purchasing. Already today we are on a good level with more than 50% of recycled material in our steel products. Also, what we've done is that we have mapped our high CO2 intense suppliers and are engaging those to reduce emissions. And this is where I mentioned with the best practices. This is our role to show our suppliers what are the main ways to decarbonize the operations. And this is exactly what we do. In own operations, we are targeting to reduce the CO2 emissions by 80% by 2030, with the baseline being 2019 again. And here we are transforming our own operations by replacing fossil fuels with renewables in our locations. We are purchasing CO2-free electricity and district heat, and we are further investing in energy efficiency across our operations globally. Also, we are looking the ways we are all Valmeteers commuting to work every day, and we are looking ways to promote low-carbon commuting methods and also reducing business travel, especially the long haul flights. The use phase of Valmet's technologies has the biggest impact in the entire value chain. If we look at Valmet's value chain from the environmental impact perspective, the use phase of technologies at the customer use is 95% of the entire footprint. That is why it's so important to focus to reduce those emissions and that net impact. So we have two targets. First of all, we are targeting to reduce 20% of the energy used by our customers in the industrial processes by 2030 through the current operations and the current development of our R&D, of our current offering. But what is the really impactful target is that we are targeting to enable for all of our customers fully carbon neutral production by 2030. And this is done already today with our energy and pulp processes and the process technologies which we are able to offer already today. But we still need to work with the paper process technologies to electrify those, but also we're looking alternative disruptive technologies such as the green hydrogen and carbon capture and storage solutions. So this is an example how we are looking towards the future and going forward to a carbon neutral future. And all of this comes with also an offering development. Valmet has a full scope offering already today to significantly reduce CO2 emissions and other environmental impacts for our customers through our process technologies, through our automation and industrial internet solutions, and the services, the aftermarket services that we offer to our customers. And we have identified full scope offering for our board and paper producers, for our tissue producers, energy and pulp production. To summarize, our approach to sustainability can be seen in two ways. One is that we are a globally recognized sustainability leader. We have very strong sustainability performance and very transparent reporting annually. The other part is that our process technologies, our automation and our services offer solutions that respond to those sustainable development challenges that we are facing in the world. And we have this full scope offering already today, while investing into research and development to make sure that we are fit for future as well. And thank you, that was my part, and now we have still some time for some questions.